Before we get to some serious complexity that just foreshadows what's to come, we need to finish up this last action. If I twirl this open, make sure that last step is selected and then start recording and just close this layer. And you may think, "Well, is that really necessary?" Well, when we have folders with 6 or more sublayers, then yeah, you're going to think that's necessary so we don't clog everything up. So we can stop that recording right there, twirl this shut, make sure we're on the uppermost layer, and then click on black and white so that we click on the new actions icon, and we're going to make a levels, sorry, levels action, and we'll begin recording. And it's going to start with the folder. We're going to start with a group, option click on the folder so that we can name it levels, not layers. And then with that arrow pointing downward, if we add an adjustment layer, a levels adjustment layer, but don't just click on it. Remember, that was my mistake last video. Option click so we can name this 2A. I know, 2A, what's that mean? Trust me, we'll get there, okay? Now, we're going to duplicate this several times, and it's tedious to go up to the menu. This is one of those actions we're going to use over and over. Not actions, one of the commands we're going to use again and again and again. And so we need a custom keyboard shortcut. So what better time to learn how to do that than right now? Go under Edit. You know how we jump things to a new layer? Command J. We don't just want to jump it. We want to rename it as we jump it too. Oh, what's the big deal? Just double click. Well, we're going to make over a dozen of these. Let's do it together. Edit. Keyboard shortcuts. Hey, look at that shortcut right there. And then we're under layer, and we're going to duplicate the layer. And I should have shown you where this is. Let's go ahead. Because it's important to know where these are in the list. Notice there's new, and there's a flyout menu for new and a whole bunch of things here. And then there's 2 grayed out options and then duplicate layer, which is what we want. So let's go under Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and go under Layer, twirl it open, and under New, here's the flyout menu with all those guys. Here's the CSS and SVG, which was grayed out, and then duplicate layer. And notice how it's got group, and that means, hey, I can duplicate a layer or a group. And believe it or not, that comes in handy too. Click in this box, Command J is what we used. It's not going to let us use Option Command J, but on the Mac, the Control key is very seldom used. It is used, very seldom. Control Command J. And we don't get a warning. If you create custom shortcuts and you get a warning here, you better know what you're doing because you are going to replace an existing shortcut. That's the bad news. The good news is you're not going to replace it in Photoshop defaults. As soon as I click Return, notice it switches, the set switches to Photoshop defaults modified. And we'll talk about save and action sets. For right now, this is saved. It's part of Photoshop from this point forward, but we're not working in the defaults anymore. Click OK. Now, with this levels layer selected and we haven't made a single change, let's use our shortcut, Control Command J, and let's call it 2B, and hit Return. But let's turn it off. This is important. We want to make our copies without the visibility on. So now, Control Command J, 2C, hit Return, Control Command J, 2D, hit Return, Control Command J, 2E. I know. How many of these are we going to make? One more for now. You'll find out why. Control Command J, and we have 2F. This is our experimental layer. Here we're going to make settings. We're going to make them in the next set of videos. For right now, we have created this action. We can come up here, and normally, hey, Scotchko, remember to close this. Well, I would, except the next actions we're going to create needs this open. So we're going to leave it open and we'll close it when we're done with the next step. For right now, go ahead and stop playing that action or recording that action. Come back to levels and we're done for now. Let's come back and make our settings in 5 of the 6 layers.